I got 7 o'clock. I'd like to call the Groveland Township regular board meeting for September 11th to order. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay. And Laura, this will be your first one, right?
It's still me.
Janelle, you're doing it. Oh, okay.
It's still me.
Oh, okay. This will be your last one.
It's my. Should I paint you something? Yeah, where's my gift? Where's my juice and treats?
We're going to change.
Janelle, would you take her all?
I would be happy
We're
to.
going to change your name.
De Palma,
Here.
Mac,
Here.
it's a rough go.
Would you like a letter?
Bills,
Here.
Christopher,
He's excused the friend that passed away.
Muzzarelli.
Here.
Okay, very good.
And Janelle, put that in the training, make sure she knows. The gift.
The goat.
Yes.
Everybody should have received a copy of the, well, first let's, I guess, do the agenda since it's on the first. Is there any questions or comments on this agenda that anybody wants to modify? If not, a motion to approve is accepted would be in order.
I will make a motion to accept the September 11th agenda as presented.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, it's approved. Next is the approval of the minutes for the August 14th for both the township and the fire department. I gave them a quick scan over today. I didn't see anything, but that doesn't mean I might not have missed something. But they looked okay to me. Anybody got any comment on those?
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes as presented for the August 14th, 2023 meeting. I have a correction.
Okay.
Under this meeting was held August 14th.
I was waiting. I already told Laura, I'm like, I gotta change the year on that.
Yeah, it's 23, so it's just a typo. Okay, that's my motion.
Okay,
Does
is
anybody-
there a second?
Support. Yeah.
Any questions or comments from the board on it? Not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? You want to do the fire board, Eddie?
What's it?
You want to do the fire board too?
Yeah.
Okay. You want to make the motion?
Does anybody, I don't know, does everybody have anything to say about it?
No.
Okay, so I'll motion to accept the fire board August 14, 2023 minutes as presented. I'll second that.
Questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, they're accepted. Moving to the financials, budget amendments, Patty? you
I
have any?
have one. So, in equalization, somehow we didn't budget, we were short $29.34, so I motion to move $29.34 out of capital outlay reserve into equalization. And I will give you the number, Janelle. For capital outlay reserve, it is 101,970,980,005. And that's it.
Is there a second to
I
that?
think that's pretty good.
I'll second that.
Okay, questions or comments? Not, all in favor say aye. Oh, I'm sorry, that was mine, I apologize.
Have a vote.
Apologies. If you would, you know.
Back,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes.
Muzzarelli,
Yes.
De Palma.
Yes, that's the way we spent that.
I know, Teresa's like, well, where did that come from? Why is it that? I don't know.
Yeah, I couldn't figure out, I thought we paid equalization.
We-
But
I
whatever.
got
just
more on
short.
utilization today.
Oh, good.
Okay, then the financial reports for general fire and building.
So for the general account for the month, it was $12,712.22. And the building was $3,285. And that was for the BSA, software contractual services for the new, actually, no, I think that was for the yearly actual BSA for the building, that one was. So for a total of $15,997 fire fund, we had, this is interesting, $12,072.27. And, out of trust and agency, there was $998.05, and that was it. My motion is to accept the financials as presented.
I have a
Yeah, go ahead.
question. So, how can we have this much extra in waste hauler under revenue?
Because I
What did we
believe,
collect?
did Angela do the,
She probably just do them all out.
Yeah,
Oh,
she-
okay.
And sometimes we don't know how many trucks they have
Yeah.
until they pay the licensing. fee.
Right.
Okay,
Because
okay.
It's per truck, so if like
Okay.
communities kinda got almost the whole township now.
All right.
I'm getting, I
They
think he has a
probably
lot
had-
more
they
trucks.
had
Probably
extra trucks.
Okay,
And if they didn't pay on time, they had to pay a late fee.
okay, okay, got it, okay,
So it usually shows
All right.
up once a year on Splot.
okay, okay, yeah, all right.
Usually in March or April
Okay,
is when they'll show up.
yeah, it seems early to be
Yeah.
far, yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
And then the revenue and expenditure, anybody have any questions on it?
That was it.
Okay, I will motion to accept the, revenue and expenditure report as presented.
Okay, is there a second to that?
I'll second that.
Any questions or comments from the board? We're not actually just doing the money, we're just accepting them, so all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, okay, it's done. Next comes the, investment report. Teresa?
So just a FYI, so yeah, interest rates are still quite high,
Yeah.
and, the final balances reflect everything except for Oakland County LGRP, because they just didn't have the statements to me in time to
So that's
post
on
them.
top of this number?
Yes, but it's not a whole lot
Oh,
more.
okay.
It's, maybe another $50 per fund or whatever. But all the interest and stuff is posted already, so as long as the revenue and expense reports were printed after Thursday, then
shows.
it's included.
This shows.
Okay?
Thank you.
Thank you, yeah.
And then moving to presentations, and a drum roll, and the main reason for today is our favorite auditor in the world, Ken Telka. We had a sneak preview earlier last week,
Yeah.
so
All
Ken, it's all yours.
right, well, thank you. Appreciate the opportunity to continue to serve as the auditors out here at Groveland Township. Appreciate all the assistance that we received from Teresa and Patty and Bob and Janelle over here, the chief. Everything went very well, as always. You guys, it's always easy to bring good news to a township. You guys are in excellent financial condition. We did have two small comments that I just want to touch base on real quick. One of them is getting in the better practice with providing receipts with credit card statements for the fire department. So I did talk to the chief about it. We just have to make sure the guys remember to bring those receipts back after they make charges. That was one item, and then the other item was on your cell phone bill. There's still some people listed that don't work here anymore, your previous clerk. The phones went to the new clerk.
Just didn't change the title, right?
But the name just didn't change on the invoice, so it just doesn't look good. So probably should try to get through to the Verizon people and get that changed. Yes, sir, Chief.
If you've ever had to deal with Verizon, you know you don't wanna do
I
that.
heard the story.
So, you'll
It'd be
spend
easier
4
to
hours
change
on
the
the,
employee's name, wouldn't it?
yeah,
And then
it's
lose the phone
just
number.
impossible. I mean, the ones you saw were for Permines, and those are our tablets, and it's just like.
Is there a way they could be just titled up to the?
No,
I'm
they
asking-
have to have a name for a
Name.
point of
You
contact.
can't just say like truck one or ambulance two.
It's
or-
just like, it's like working with Comcast. I'll just leave it at that, so. They're just terrible.
It is, okay.
Can we?
Maybe you'll be the first one, Chief, to succeed in.
And every time you call them, oh, your rate's gotta go up because you bothered to call us.
Can you make I'm asking, I don't know if this is acceptable. Can we make a master list of who ends up getting the phone that's labeled that way?
It's the tablets, it just sits in the trucks. There are 3 names, there's 3, this is Permines on there, that's the 3 tablets that go in the truck.
Cause he's the one who ordered it for us.
He's the one
right?
that set it up. So if we do it now, it'd be Burdess, so I mean, it's, they have to have a name, so unless we.
They have to have a person's name, it
Yeah.
can't be a job title or a vehicle.
It's just, we just, accept it, and we know what it is, so it's,
Okay.
I mean, it's not like Cremines has got 3 of our phones and he's using.
No, I know, and he realizes that, he's just trying to make it so
I mean, I'll
the
have.
record technically matches what we've actually got out there.
We just have to go on record saying that we did see that.
Yeah.
So, hopefully we do.
Janelle says she'll take care of it.
I'll take care of it. I got it.
Okay.
Okay, let's get to the numbers. You can open up your financial reports to page 21. So this page,
No, it's on my desk.
this page summarizes all of the township's activities for the year in a nutshell here from April 1st through March 31st. It's got all of the funds listed here. So the very first column that you see there is your general fund.
Sorry, okay.
So the first column that we have here is your general fund. And you can see your total revenues were just under $1,489,000. Total expenditures were $1,266,260. As you can see, you had a surplus for the year as far as your direct operations go. And just below that, you have what we call other financing sources and uses, which is the monies that are coming in for that sale of the property, which you had back in 2014. That's more or less a land contract where you receive those monies every year for principal and interest. After that money came in, that boosted your surplus to $250,339. So as you can see in your general fund, you started with just over 6.1 million, and you ended the year with just under 6.4 million. The township is in great shape. You've got some huge projects coming down the pipeline here, so you guys have set yourself up very nicely to be able to pay for these projects. Looks good. Fire department also had a good year. You look at their total revenues were just over 1.2 million. Expenditures were just under 1.2 million, so they had a surplus of 45,692. And if you remember, the township's general fund kicks some money into the fire fund, and that's where you see the 10,262 come in. I forget exactly what the reason was for, but they did
I think that
transfer.
was revenue we got from something like either the, cable stuff running through the township or something that we
Was
said
that
we would
Metro
give to
right
you.
away?
Metro right away or something like that. It was about that amount.
So after that transfer, the fire department had a almost $56,000 surplus for the year. And their fund balance is now just over $1,734,000. Building department, same thing. As you can see in their fund, just over $143,000 in revenues, almost $94,000 in expenditures. So overall, they had about a $50,000 surplus. And then in your ARPA fund, this is a fund that accounts for the federal monies that most of the townships received regarding COVID. As you can see, the
It's all part of
township.
our federal deficit money.
Something like Build Back Better or something?
Yeah, something like that.
Gotcha.
Or print more money, one of the
Yeah.
two.
So in that fund, the way we account for federal monies is a little bit different than these other funds. And you receive the money and it's not revenue to the township until you actually spend the money. So for this year, you did spend just over 169,000 of this money, and I believe that went towards
Ambulance.
ambulances.
That's
So-
pretty much what they cost now.
Yeah.
And that's the cheap one.
Yeah. So after you see that, you actually came pretty close to a break even in there. You had $4,857 in interest income that came in there. So overall, overall, the township is in excellent shape. Your total fund balance is just over 9.1 million. Is there any questions or comments that people like to talk about?
Thank you.
He knows the only number I ever go to when we sit down and talk about this, how much you can put away, and I circled the 250,000 at the bottom, and I said, okay, and then after that, it's like, oh, I hear you, but it's in the background.
The other good news, give it to the township, I think it's good news, is in your legacy costs, pension and your OPEB, if you flip to page 35, look at pension first. As you know, in 2022, we did not have a very good year for investments. Even with that bad year in your investments, you're still overfunded on your pension. So you went from being overfunded of $1,112,000 down to $606,030. And as I was telling the officials in our preliminary meeting, there's not too many townships that are, even close to being overfunded. So you guys have in great shape there too.
The only thing that worries me, this year looks like give or take, it might be a flat year, so the reason those numbers look better than what they might be instantaneously is because MERS takes that obligation when they figure out how much money you would actually have to have for the year.
Yeah.
They spread that over 5 years. In other words, they don't make you take the full hit year one. They spread it out over 5 years, hoping that over the 5 years, the pluses and minuses average out to their average year. And so last year, I think the market was down roughly 10%.
Yeah.
And this year, let's assume, hopefully, maybe it's flat. So there's 2 years where we wouldn't have made the 6 or 7%. Eventually, that catches up to you and keeps on whittling that overage away, which is why we've always had it a little bit over. We're gonna see if they're right about saying that there's no hard landing and no recession, and the market actually picks up sometime in '24, all this stuff normalizes and comes out okay.
We can only hope.
Yes.
And if you flip over to page 43, which is your OPEB, same story, you were overfunded by 449,000, and actually grew a little bit to being overfunded by 476,000, when you throw all of your assumptions and everything in there.
And I think that one more so is because we have when we initially set that up, we had it funded probably better than they thought, and we weren't tapping it as hard. For a while, actually, we took a few of them out of the ongoing operation instead of taking it out of that fund. So that's the reason that's heavier. That when you look at their reports on that stuff that they do through CBIZ, it'll show where they, what's the phrases? When people drop out of the system. It's when some of the obligation stops.
There you go. That's a
And all of a sudden, the numbers look real good again. So this one's a little harder to see it on because it's, we inadvertently artificially paid some of the OPEB costs out of the existing operating budget for a couple of years on 2 or 3 people before we started taking it out. But it is in great shape.
And going forward, we'll be using the funding vehicle.
But yes, shortly for another one.
Yeah. 2.
If you flip over to page 50, take a look at some of your budget actuals and see how you finished up there. This is the fire fund. You can see your final budget for revenues were $1,162,000 roughly, and you actually brought in $1,243,000. So you can see that a positive variance there of $81,825. You brought that much more money in than what you forecasted you would. And then as far as expenditures go, you can see your total public safety line. You had budgeted $2,423,013, and you spent $1,197,712. The big item in here is the capital outlay item, where you had a significant budget line in there, and you really didn't get into that for the fiscal year. I believe this has to do with building the new fire hall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So you had budgeted 1.2 million in there, and
That probably won't transfer out until roughly the summer of next year.
okay. So you have to remember to make sure you have that rebudgeted again for this fiscal year that we're in right
Yes.
now. So overall, your positive variance were over 1.3 million in your fire fund. Like we mentioned earlier, your total fund balance is just under $2 million in here.
One thing, we've had a pretty good help this year, I think, wouldn't you agree, Kevin, in the state equalized value, because the total assessed value of the township now is about 250 million, and it wasn't that long ago, it was about 185, so it got, you know, kind of the 5% COLA that we all got hit with under the Headley Amendment thing.
Yeah.
And some new builds we've had, we don't have builds like some communities get 200 or 300 homes a year, but we had, I think, about 25 or 7, Danielle said last year, and for us, that's a big.
Yeah, we're reached up like 6.
Yeah, so for us, that's a big year, so all of that made the state equalized value number for the township a little bit bigger than we normally would have expected.
And can I verify that of this, 1,200,000, that's in the capital outlay sitting in the fire fund, fire gets the interest on that, correct?
Correct.
Okay.
And that's why if you looked at the
Good.
revenue and expense report, we had I had, initially when we did the budget, I had programmed $5,000, and we didn't even make that last year, I don't believe. So then Teresa and I talked about it, so we upped it to $15,000 because it was doing well. We're already at 29,000 for the year, we're not even halfway through.
Definitely, that's the other thing that's helped, the state equalized value went up pretty good in the last year because of the inflation and the new builds and the interest rates that Teresa's been doing a great job on. We're finally getting some money again. I mean, when I started here, we used to get about $90,000 a year, and a couple of years ago, we were getting like $5,000, I think, or something. It was ridiculous.
On the flip side, everything costs more.
Yeah.
We're only looking at the good side.
Yeah.
We don't wanna talk about the ambulances went from 110 to 160.
But no, good.
And we tightened our belt quite severely this last year. So.
Yep, you did. You did a good job on that stuff.
Page 65 is your general fund, comparing that to your budget. And again, you can see your total revenues. You had budgeted 1.2 million, brought in over 1.4 million. So on the revenue side, you had a positive variance of 208,000. Expenditures, your positive variance was 316,000. So overall, when you get to the bottom line, your overall variance over your budget was 513,901. You budgeted to have a fund balance of 2.7 roughly, and you ended up with almost 3.2. Just your general fund. Any questions? Comments?
What can I ask, okay?
Well, this year, you'll have a lot more money going
Oh,
out
yeah.
this year, so you're gonna take some of that fund
Yeah,
balance.
and no, you're correct, absolutely. We have the money put away in the infrastructure fund, and that's the purpose of it, was to pay for the rest of the fire station when it gets done. That's tentatively gonna be next summer. And there's another building going on, we're not paying for it, but it's technically gonna be our first tenant, because Bedrock is going to build a service facility, in the development, and have the building go up the same time as ours, so I guess officially that'll be our first outside tenant, so to speak.
Tax paying tenant.
Yes.
I mean, the good thing about having the money there is you don't have to borrow and sell bonds with interest rates being up at 8
That's
or
right.
9%.
Yeah, that's like even mortgage rates on homes, they said are about 7.2 or 3
Yeah,
right now.
yeah,
Yeah, doubled in 2 years.
Yeah.
yeah, head back there again. Any
Thank you,
questions
Ken.
or anything?
I was ecstatic when you left the other day.
Right, we appreciate it, guys.
Thank you.
You could, if you could receive the report, that way we can send it on to the state of Michigan
Okay.
and we'll go from
Does
there.
someone wanna make a motion to receive the report for the audit as filed?
I'll make a motion to receive the report from the auditor as filed.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, can we just take a roll call vote on it?
Bills?
Yes.
Mazzarelli?
Yes.
DePalma?
Yes.
Back?
Yes.
Thank you, Ken, I appreciate it, thank you for coming tonight.
Ken, thank you for always being so patient with our
Yes.
questions and just, heart out,
searching.
being there for us. We appreciate you.
Oh, thanks. No, this is fine.
Thank you.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
Thanks
Good
again.
night,
Ken.
everybody.
Have a
Good
safe
night.
trip.
They can.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public hearing. We don't have any for tonight, and then is unfinished business. We don't have any for tonight, so we'll move right into new business. And, we got several items to go through there. First one is to discuss the Oakland County equalization contract, and I'll kind of cover that. We received a letter from Oakland County Tax Assessing that said, oh, here's some changes to the new contract, just please sign this right away and get it back to us. Well, I happen to have my OCAT's monthly supervisor's lunch the next day. So I says, anybody else got this letter, and what are you doing with it? Because, you know, it's a fairly thick contract, and the way they sent us the letter, it sounded like it was no big deal, right? Well, Orion Township said, oh no, we gave this to our attorney, and there's at least 3 issues that we have on it. One of them is, they want to decide whether or not we settle for the assessment that comes up in the hearing, not the township. They want to make the decision, take it away from the township. And they want the townships to pick up all the costs to do the legal preparation for the appeals and stuff that they used to do. And there was another item in it. So at any rate, there were 3 items that Lake Orion, and I think I passed that in an email to everybody. Okay, and so I'm of the opinion, until I hear back at one of my supervisors' lunches, that they've actually resolved those issues, because they're trying to get them to change that language. This effectively means a cost increase to us for doing the tax appeals, and removes the township's authority to be able to decide whether or not we want to settle on the amount or not, or take it all the way through the tax tribunal. So, I don't know why they tried to pass it off this way, but a couple of other townships have had similar issues on it, right? And so, I don't think we should do anything, and I have no intention, unless the board feels otherwise, of signing anything, or getting back to them, or doing anything at all, until the rest of the members in OCATS tell me, we got these issues addressed, and here's what we're doing. Because I don't think they're going to do it. I believe we have a much stronger position if none of us do it with the tax assessing department.
When do they want it signed by?
Oh, they want to do it as soon as possible at the next meeting.
Yeah,
So that would have been tonight.
okay.
And I knew I had an OCAS lunch, so these things usually come up at the end of our agenda at the OCAS lunch, and it did, 2 or 3 of us had the same concern.
This would be for future equalization contracts, because we're done
With the one we
with the
had.
2023
Right.
tax year. So this would be applying to anything beyond that.
And I'd be surprised if they decide they don't want to do any of the tax assessing. Okay? Because they pretty much got, I think, all of OCAS, which is the majority of the townships in Oakland County. Thinking, no, I don't think we want to sign this yet. They're doing some things with their other contracts. I was gonna talk about one of them later, but just to give you an example. They decided, they being the county commissioners and the county executive, decided that the people were not paying enough for the Oakland County Sheriff. Now, the Oakland County Sheriff only got a 3% raise, which is kind of typical in a lot of municipal stuff. But they raised the contract price for the Oakland County Sheriff 8 to 15%. And it's because they thought they didn't have enough. And I was told the sheriff had nothing to do with setting the price. He was just told what it would be.
So the extra
5%.
5 to 10% goes
Yes.
where somebody's
I guess
Yeah.
I guess Oakland County's getting it somehow, I don't know.
but not to the deputies.
Not to the deputies, no, their contracts for 3%. I don't know, Chris, have you heard anything on this?
No, I'm retired.
Okay, well, so I mean, this kind of surprised all of us, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
So if you wonder, I mean, a deputy now is about 165,000 each. So if you wanna know what it takes to, and I'm not sure if that's even with a car. If the minimum staffing when the sheriff had tried to sell us on a contract is 5 deputies to have 1 on all the time in a township. So you take that 165 times that by 5, that's the minimum amount you would pay for the sheriff's contract. And again, I think most of the guys are pretty surprised about it, but we really don't have anything to say about it because they just decided that's the rate they're passing it on that way. And I don't know what they're doing with it, but I just thought I'd let you know. Okay, so does anybody have a different opinion on what we should do in regards to that contract, as to equalization? I intend to do nothing.
Keep as much local control as we can, is
Yes.
Johnny's opinion.
Yes, and you know, let's not reshape the expense,
Structure behind it.
Structure, exactly.
How about this, how if I do it this way? I make a motion that Groveland Township does not sign the new equalization contract until the open issues brought up by the other members are resolved to our satisfaction.
Okay.
Perfect.
That
Second
sounds,
to that?
Second.
Good way to do it.
That's perfect,
Okay,
yes.
The other members. The other members.
other members
of-
vote
Okay,
yes.
okay,
Yeah.
that's what I wanna be sure.
Could you clarify that motion?
you said that,
The Palmer motion that Groveland Township does not sign the contract until
The
members.
other members of OCAS
Until,
resolve the open issues.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. And so that was me,
So
and
Gina
Gina seconded.
seconded
Any
it.
questions or comments from the board? If not, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Okay, so we got it done as a resolution now. I'll let you know, I'll probably hear something at the next OCAS. The next thing, Patty, I think this one's yours, the smart
Yeah, these
contracts.
are the smart credits. So smart
Credits,
credits
I'm sorry.
are what the state gives for our, if we have a transportation service for our seniors and so on. So we have agreed and signed a contract and approved at the last meeting to go with WODA for entire Groveland Township. However, so these smart credits used to be split, the amount is $5,529 total. In the past, we would split these credits between the Village of Holly Senior Center and the Brandon Senior Center, because we don't have a bus or a senior center. So with us going with WODA, the issue came up that we have a few residents in Groveland Township that go east into Oxford, maybe up to here. So, discussing this with WODA, the, gal there who did the organizing, she had said that they would either take the smart credits or we could just give them to the other community. So, I am going to recommend we give them all to Brandon, the entire $5,529, to go towards to be used by the senior center for the, busing or rides for those that need them, because we still have some people that are going into Oxford and that, WODA will not go there, NODA goes there. And NODA and WODA are working together to work something out, as we explained at the last meeting. It's just not decided yet, but rather than have anybody who's used to that going to the east or to Oxford, we have one person that goes quite frequently every week, couple of days over there. So that's my recommendation to, I guess I can make a motion that we, transfer our smart credits of $5,529 to Brandon Senior Center for transportation for those that use the Brandon Senior Center, and to have Bob DePalma as the highest, official to oversee that. I think you signed that before.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
Which is why nothing about it, you do it for me.
I know. I did, yeah. I don't know what he's gonna do without me.
I'll second that.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there any other questions or comments on it? If not, all in favor say aye, or I'm sorry, roll call, it's money,
Yeah, I was gonna say
$5,500. I apologize, roll call.
Musarelli?
yes.
De Palma?
Yes,
Back?
Yes.
Bills?
Yes.
thank you. It's kind of interesting, if you recall, when they passed the Regional Transit Authority, all the we kept on asking, what are we gonna tell people, because you're telling them you're gonna run out here, and there's nothing in place, what are you going to do? And the answers were, oh, maybe in 4 years you'll see something. Well, obviously, they decided it would be better to be more proactive than wait 4 years. So I don't think this represents $250,000 a year, but it's something anyway for our residents. And it's a start.
It's just a start, yeah.
And they're looking at expanding that, WODA is, in actually, Kim with WODA, who
Yeah, she's
spoke,
very
Yeah, she
helpful.
came.
she, I think, saw to it, got pushed
Yes.
to get through faster than 3 or 4 years, so.
Okay, next item on the agenda is discuss SISMA. I'm guessing that's why you're here, Alicia.
That's why I'm here. It's been a while. I mean, COVID-19 aside, for those who don't know who I am, I'm Alicia DiGirolamo. I'm a volunteer at the Oakland County level for our township, for
Our SISMA
basis,
lead.
our SISMA lead. And, we've recently gone through a transition phase with Oakland County where Parks and Rec's pretty much absorbing what was an independent entity. That, and in part with the former director, her name was Erica Kleitz, I believe some of the board members, we've had some presentations done here in the past with Erica prior to COVID-19. And trying to provide some educational information, et cetera, for all of the community at large on different ways to manage and mitigate invasive species activities. Well, we've recently gotten a new director, his name's Patrick Knipp. And he recently introduced himself at the latest meeting, which was last week. Excuse me. We started back up in August and just kind of, we took the summer off, all of the SISMA entities for Oakland County, and just kind of said, let's push everything on pause. There's lots of independent work being done by the different townships. Patrick was just getting his feet wet to get to understand the organization in different areas. So I extended an invitation for him to come here to meet the board. He wasn't able to do so tonight, but we will set up a different time, different date for him to do so. But in essence, there was a couple of things I just wanted to pass along to the board. We talked about some internal training that's being done with some of the new folks that are onboarding within Oakland County invasive species management area, along with some outreach programs that are going to start happening again. As I get that information, I will pass it along to the board so we can upload that information onto the township website, and anybody who's interested in either participating in some of the educational activities or just want to get to know more can do so. But the most specific highlighted areas that I just wanted to bring to everybody's attention, because we hadn't had that conversation in about a year. And again, part of it's because everything had been put on pause for a few months. The Oakland County SISMA lead out of the Parks and Recs department is going to take the lead on facilitating all the right-of-way spraying. So they haven't asked for any funding from any of the management areas, any of the townships within Oakland County thus far. They've been able to absorb those funds, those costs internally thus far. And I
So they're
believe,
taking on the responsibility for what gets sprayed on the road right of ways?
correct, at this point in time, and if I recall correctly, I think the last time we had asked for some money, I wanna say it was like on the order of $1,000 maybe. And the number would go down as the decrease in the invasive species was identified along the right-of-way areas, which was a good thing, right? That was the expectation. It wasn't the same number, it's supposed to go down year over year. That being said, they had gone ahead and identified the 3 subcontractors globally that would be facilitating that work, and that is in the 2 maps that has been contained in the emails that I forwarded to everybody. So there's a map of Oakland County as a whole, and then there's the different SISMA areas that are highlighted in different colors. Green, orange, and blue would represent the different subcontractors that would be doing the spraying and application. If there's any concerns that anybody has regarding the practices and procedures and processes, I would be more than happy to collate that information and pass it along to Patrick so that he is preemptive in the communication process with them, so they can, do a better, let me say it differently, so they can manage the social side a little bit more than what they've done in the past.
Alicia, if I look at this though, it looks like, am I reading these maps right? Every one of those roads is getting done.
They have, the
'Cause
roads
they're
are all in
color-coded
yellow.
Right.
And so if they could change the color to the roads to be treated to something different? Cause it does, it looks like
It does.
absolutely every road.
It might be, I will circle back and I will validate, I will
Because
verify
the
that.
reason I ask is
Yeah,
like,
it's not
there's
right
no,
away, yeah.
there's no Phragmites in front of my house.
Right.
Okay.
Most of them near me.
Okay.
And this, and that was a discussion that Gina and I were
Right.
having at
Yes.
before the meeting started.
Okay.
That it looks like this anticipates spraying every single road, and I don't think that's what they're doing.
And that's
Unless
not,
this
that's
is
not
just-
right of ways. Yeah, every single road is not treating right of way.
Right,
That's
Right.
access.
Maybe this is just to say
yeah,
those are all our road right
So
of
if you
ways,
could
but what are they spraying?
clarify
Yep.
that,
I can do that.
and then the other thing is, you know, my beef in the past has been, I know what the treatment protocol is, you're supposed to cut it back and you are literally supposed to put a drop on each plant. And I have taken video and sent it in the past of the kids jumping out of the truck, spraying everything into the water table, not soil, water table, which ends up in our wells. That is not acceptable. It is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form, and when the dates come out, I'm watching.
Sure, no, absolutely. Like I said, if we can, just give me a
Right.
quick summary so I can send it off to Patrick
Okay.
and review those those concerns with him and make sure that he facilitates a conversation.
And then
with
you'll
the
give us a
subs-
map that shows
Right,
which
we
ones
have-
they actually
yeah.
think are spraying.
Right, no,
Cause
that's,
I'm guessing that's based on like the previous year where we had a map, where they said, oh,
And-
here's
but
this
even
frag
that
ID
was just
here,
the
this
section.
yeah, there were
section.
sections of
Yeah.
Groveland, there were sections of Brand, there were
There's a
sections
piece of
of
Groveland
Barrett.
Road that has,
Correct.
you know, but it's
There's a-
not the whole road.
Correct, you are
Right.
correct. No, you are
This is
correct.
not-
Yes, yep,
Yeah, it should not be this much.
okay.
And if it is, then I can't drink my water for a really freaking long time now.
It does.
It does
It
say.
has to be treated, it should
That's
not.
what it says.
It's
Yeah.
not acceptable.
I don't know, it might be something as simple as they outlined all the roads, cause they have, I'm only guessing here.
Right,
They have jurisdiction over them.
Right.
And they're only going to spray the parts that they knew were.
But usually
Right.
it's like blue or something.
Yeah,
it's
Correct.
delineated
It's
in a
not- they
small
have-
section.
They had all that.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Well, Patrick's on board, and like I said, we need to do, probably do a transitory conversation with him to understand historically, this is how it was done. This is, we wanna kind of clarify how we're going to facilitate, move forward from there. Okay, very good.
All right, that's it?
That's it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, next item on the discussion is, we have a resolution from the county. They wanna make, September, suicide prevention month, and they sent a resolution for that. We generally just agree, of course, it's kinda like after Prime Motherhood, which is a good thing to support, so. With that, does anyone wanna make a motion to, accept and adopt the county's resolution for National Recovery Month for September 23?
Well, I think there's two of them here, one's for National Suicide Prevention Month
And the National Recovery Month.
and
Both.
National Recovery.
Oh, I'm sorry, yeah, I didn't do
That's
that, I
all.
apologize. Yep. Oh, I got that
We can
stuck
put
together.
motions.
Somebody needs to make a resolution to adopt those.
All right, I will make a motion that the Groveland Township Board support National Recovery Month for September 23, as well as National Suicide Prevention Month, September 2023.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
Any questions or comments from the board? Seeing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? It's passed, thank you. Okay, next one is the zoning ordinance adoption. This one has been painfully long, so let me kind of tell you what happened. We had the planner go through our ordinance, and the principal reason for it was simply to clear up a lot of old language that was in there that had some references that had long since disappeared. And so Danielle did a very nice job going through that with them. They changed those. We've not really changed anything in the zoning except they kind of combined the R1 and R2 into residential and the B1, 2, and 3 into commercial. And they changed one distance requirement where it said outbuilding or accessory building had to be at least 10 feet away. We changed it to 5 feet, which is what they have in Brandon, just to be consistent. And those are the only
And the
changes.
parking.
The bulk of this transition on the zoning ordinance, besides clearing up the language, was the zoning map. And both Danielle and I are kind of flabbergasted at how many times we had conference calls with the planner and thought, He said he was going to do exactly what she spent a lot of time laying out, and then he did exactly something else. So the darn map had to get redone about 3 times, but it's right now. So this resolution will adopt our new zoning ordinance, so it'll be in place with the new corrected map that Danielle's gone over. And with this, she's also, I had her take all of our parcels on the township property for the industrial park and combine them into one big piece. The number came back on that, so with this and that consolidated piece, the only thing I need to do is finish up with Will the site condominium document for the development, and we finally have everything we need to go back to the economic development people, both in the Detroit metro region and in Oakland County. They just sent me an invitation on a class with a bunch of developers that's coming up in October. I'm going to go to that, it's on a Friday. I've met with them a couple of times. There is money coming down from the state this month to economic development in the county that's used to help promote projects. And because I've been talking to them, they think ours is an excellent one to get some. And I don't know how much yet. I think the first hunk of money was $500,000. I believe the second one is $2 million. So I'm hopeful we can get enough of that to pay for at least a good part of our promotional stuff that we're working on. I met with them, I told them what I wanted. They're supposed to get back to me this month and see if we can start sitting down and figuring out what the actual cost for it is. And I have a couple of meetings, Vinny set one up with the group that he knows, to see if we can get an estimate from them. And then as a sanity check, I have a brother-in-law that's a retired producer in California, so I'll check with him, make sure we're getting the right kind of prices. I'm producing about a 15-minute video to promote the property, but all that's happening. And the best thing that happened in the meeting with the economic development people about a week and a half ago was, I made a comment and said, you know, we would kind of prefer a number of different facilities in our tech park just for some visual appearance of that, but I'm not opposed to looking at a mega site for somebody big because we want to get the tax dollars in. And I said, I'm under the impression there aren't very many mega sites available left in Michigan. And the lady that was in the group, I think she's kind of the, I forget what her title is, but she's the one I think when people don't want to get stuff done, she figures out how the county convinces them to do it. Okay? And she said, yes, you're right, Bob, there aren't a lot of mega sites. There's actually one, it's yours. So I thought, okay, note to self, price is firm. So I felt pretty good about that. I do think we're gonna have a lot of response for it, hopefully. This will go well, but as soon as I get that site and I talked to Will this morning, I said the document he sent me, I didn't think was exactly what Barry and I had talked about. And he said, well, it kinda is, but I know what you want, let me change it and I'll get that to you. So as soon as we get that resolved, we got the parcel ID, we got, with this approved, we'll get the zoning map and the necessary zoning classifications. We can go to everybody and actually get the materials printed then and start promoting it. We'll see what happens. So I'm pretty optimistic about it.
So we need this resolution passed.
We need this resolution, thank you, to get me back to where we
Okay.
needed to be. We
So-
need resolution adopted.
So I do have a question. Well, I did talk to some of the people on the planning commission, and the other thing they mentioned was we changed parking. So it was a maximum versus a minimum of parking.
Oh,
And
okay.
that was supposed to help with what has been going on with one of our ordinances
Okay,
over on Dixie. And then my only other question is, we have, on the 26th, there is a rezoning potentially coming to the planning commission for a parcel on Dixie, and I don't believe that's on the map that we have, the current map. It's a
guess I don't know
small
what piece that is.
parcel that is, oh, wait, hold on. It
I don't think I've
is,
seen that one.
hold on, come on, Gina, 15312 Dixie. So it is,
Is this way down at the south end?
Yes.
it's down on the south end, not all the way down though, it's not as far down as I thought. And it's on the west side of the road, and I understand it's a pie shaped, but it's property, and there was no address, so of course my car is saying turn here, and there's no place to
I
turn.
think I know which one you're talking about.
So,
It's almost at
But I
the
don't think it's on the map, so that's, I guess, my question. So this map really could possibly change again.
Well, it could, I guess, I
Okay.
don't know, I vaguely remember talking to somebody about that, and I
Okay.
think Danielle came in and talked to me about it, but I can't for the life of me right now remember.
Cause
What
it's
it was,
being
but if it does, they can
rezoned to
still
light
modify it.
industrial.
Yeah,
So, okay, alright,
sometimes people come in and just ask, you know,
sure, sure,
can I do this, and the answer is, you go to the planning commission and ask them.
okay.
Okay, so did you make the motion?
No, I didn't.
I'm sorry.
So, is that your question?
That was my,
answered?
that was my question, it's not really answered, but I will just be aware, and
So
say
you're
if it
saying,
changes, it
Bob,
changes.
that there is a way to handle that?
Oh, yeah, you
that-
can change it,
Oh, yeah.
sure, you can
Okay.
make changes, we do it all the time.
Right.
So the planning commission is
Right.
recommending that we adopt this ordinance?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you know me, I like to, say that if the planning commission has done all the work and they're recommending it to us, then I'm gonna support that. So,
In fairness, this Danielle has put a ton.
well,
into this.
Danielle has done a ton of work on this, absolutely. So I will, make a motion that we, well, we don't have a resolution number on here, but
No.
I will make a motion that we approve the Groveland Township zoning ordinance adoption resolution, dated,
November.
well, would be today, right?
September 11th.
September 11th, 2023.
Second,
I'll second.
okay, any other questions or comments from the board?
No?
All in favor say aye. All opposed? It's done, thank you.
One step closer.
Yep.
It's a lot easier.
This seems
Well,
anticlimactic
it's a lot
because
easier
we've
to
been trying to put all these pieces together, and it's just taken forever, but they're actually all coming together within a couple of weeks now, finally. Okay, next item is to discuss the power plan grant application for the fire department. Chief, do you wanna cover this?
Well, as you know, when we had the power plan come out last year, they said, oh, there's grants available. So we jumped on that last year, and then Teresa had the better project of putting the, getting money for the
Playground?
playground.
For the
So,
spring one.
yeah,
Yeah.
and they do it twice a year, I believe. So, Stacy's been working on this with Teresa, and we need a resolution so that we can apply for it, and all we're looking at is for camera system for Station 2, and we're not looking for anything fancy, we don't need it remotely operated or anything like that, so we just looked at the ones at Sam's Club, and they're less than $2,000 for the system, so we're gonna finalize which one we want on Thursday. We have to have it in by Friday. So, we're gonna, Stacy and I were gonna sit down on Thursday, but she went home sick today, so hopefully she'll be better by then. And then we'll just pick one out and just submit it as part of the package for the, and it has to be signed by you, Bob, so you can't go home Thursday till we get there.
Okay.
So who's gonna install it?
We will, I mean, we installed the ones there already,
Okay.
so.
All
And you
right.
can take it with you.
Yeah.
Can I ask, has anyone from the state police from that call we had with them gotten back to you on any of those issues? Okay, I didn't think so.
And this is for Station 2, Station 1 has a camera system, and it's wireless. We're looking at
Oh, you're gonna put it at this one?
Station 2, because the one we have is no longer working, it's probably 15 years old at least, but, so we're gonna replace that one. Some of the other additional costs might be, where we wanna put a camera, there's no power, so we wanna go wireless this time, so. We either change the location of the camera, build an extension cord or whatever, but it's nothing major that we, can't do ourselves.
So my understanding of this, working with Stacy on it, is that Power Plan, has some limits. Like, you can only apply, they'll cover security cameras up to $2,500. So this resolution of support is stating that we intend to ask for something up to that amount, but they'll want the details, and that's what,
It's a single page submission too.
yes, I showed Stacy what it looked like, and
So we'll pick out one, I've just looked, 10 minutes ago, they have systems for $500 up to, $2,000.
I mean, actually, this is pretty good, because this, if we get this, and I bet you we do, it'll be the third grant we've got from the park plan, our insurance carrier.
and they only require that the previous grant is closed which it is, because I closed that out and we've already received the payment, so, I would just recommend, you know,
Request up
Buy
to
the nice-
$2,500.
yeah, buy the nicest one you
Yeah.
can, so that, you know, you're not having to replace it again in 5 more years, right?
And the one we have in Station 1 is a night owl system. We've had some issues with it, so we're looking at, there's a Swan system too, so we don't know if it's any better, but that's basically, we could go, you know, real fancy and, you know, go with ADT stuff, but we don't need it like that. We don't need to be, the station's
Besides that,
managed.
there's usually,
Yeah,
usually somebody there so
Yeah,
you
so
can
it's-
monitor it yourself, you don't need ADT to monitor.
Right, and it's just so that we can look up and say, oh, Bob's here, we better get up, so. Yeah.
So you're just looking for a wired system that.
A
probably-
wireless system now. We have a wired system currently.
Oh, you want a wireless, but it just saves things to like a DVR for a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And,
It's similar to what we have, except the one we have now, the DVR doesn't work anymore, and
okay,
a lot of the cameras broke. We
so
could
there's
go
no
by.
monthly fees or any of
Yeah,
that
nothing
stuff,
like
it's
that.
just
They
set
built
it up
most of that
and
in,
let it
that
go.
rear view mirror in the Avante I put in has got a DVR that records it if somebody bumps you in the car.
So basically, we just wanna be able to see, you know, years past, we had a lot of contractors using the dumpster, we'd get it dumped on
Yeah.
Wednesday, Thursday, it was full. So, we kinda keep an eye on that kind
Well,
of
that's
stuff.
why we put the one up here in the front, because remember people were dropping off cans of something and junk in the front foyer here.
So, I mean, we did put up a sign up by the dumpster saying, this is being, you will be prosecuted, and it stopped. So, it does help.
Okay, so we need someone to make the resolution.
You wanna do it?
Sure.
Okay.
I will, make a resolution that the Groveland Township Fire Department applies for a risk reduction grant through the PAR plan, in an amount up to $2,500.
Is there a second?
I'll support.
Okay, any questions or comments from the board? If not, it's kind of for money, I guess, so can we take a roll call on it?
De Palma?
Yes.
Bat,
Yes.
Bills,
Yes,
Mazzarelli.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, everybody.
Tracy, do you have that? Did you type that up?
yeah, I typed it up, it's on my computer.
Would you just shoot it over
Sure
to me
will.
in printable, or, you know?
I'll shoot it to you in PDF, or not
Yes,
PDF,
you're right,
Word document. Okay.
and then I'll put the,
Yeah.
we know what we're doing.
I'll send it to
Okay.
you.
I'll get that.
Moving on to miscellaneous, Holly Area Youth Assistance Report?
Yeah, so they did have a meeting in July, but they did have one in August. And, they had a tea block party that was very well attended. And they had, Euchre fundraiser was held in July, and it brought in $928. Also, they're still doing the popcorn at the weekly car shows in downtown Holly. The Holly Days Parade and Community Play Day were this past weekend. I don't know how they went, but I kinda get this after the fact on some things, but, for skill building, there were 5 applications for July. And, it was set at $6,000 and they spent $6,009. They also did the school supplies, that went well, and that's just about all they have here. So they're doing good. We still could use a volunteer to sit on that board. Teresa sits on the Brandon Groveland, and if there was somebody from Holly that would be interested in that, call Janelle.
Okay, Brandon Groveland Youth?
Okay, so for BGYA, their meeting is tomorrow. I think probably the biggest thing right now is, September Fest in downtown Ortonville is this coming weekend. And BGYA will be doing quite a bit out there. I think they'll have their own booth, and also, Kaz is doing his time capsule placement. And, the proceeds from that are being split between the Ortonville Historical Society and BGYA, so he's presenting each, group with a check for $5,000 each. So, those are the big things, and then of course check BGYA website or Facebook page for all current updates.
Okay. Thank you. Planning commission would normally be done by Jim, but he had a friend that passed away, so he won't be here, but I can tell you that, the chief and I were talking at the beginning here, and I had some discussion with Chip. The Renaissance Festival finally seems to be working exactly the way it should. On the first 4 weekends we've had here, we've had 0 traffic. The only time there was any backup was when there was a, I'm gonna keep on forgetting the phrase they use when somebody shoots at you in traffic.
Road rage.
Road rage
Road rage.
issue on I-75 2 weeks ago,
Oh.
and they arrested the guy, but they wanted to find the shell casings for evidence, so they did close, the state police closed I-75 for 2 hours, which made some backup, but it wasn't festival response because they blocked the freeway while they were looking for the shell casings. So, other than that, there have been no backups. I drove by Sunday with my wife. There wasn't a single car in line. There was room in the parking lot. All the changes that they made seem to be working perfectly. We do have the drone pilot from the sheriff flying it every hour, so we'll have some footage later if something shows up. In fact, it went so well, I told Chip Schultz there that I don't need to see you tomorrow. Let's just wait till next week and see how it goes. But we've gone through 4 weekends now. A bunch of the tickets that they moved to the earlier ones have been used and not overloaded the system. So unless something really unexpected happens now in the 3 or 4 remaining weeks, it should be as good as it could possibly be.
Was it this past weekend also the ORV thing?
Yes,
At the same
Ford
time?
Festival,
So
yeah,
still
no problem.
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I am literally flabbergasted at how well it's worked, considering how horrible it's worked for many of the years.
Right,
It
you
just
live
goes to
there.
show you, when you put the pressure on them, and they actually spend the money to
Yeah.
go ahead and get a professional parking company,
Right.
give some
Right.
thought on how to increase the stacking lanes within the parking lots,
Exactly.
and, you know, and improve the signage,
Awesome.
and charge for parking to get people to consolidate their cars. Wow, all of a sudden, what was an insurmountable, horrendous problem, at least for these first, 4 weekends, right? Went perfect, and this last weekend's a pretty big one for us, it has Labor Day. So, we're just thrilled, and
Yeah.
as Janelle said, the best part is there's no cars parked on Holdridge, right?
It's my favorite part.
It's
And I was
certainly
down
your part.
Perryville when we were down there.
Yeah, no, it's been just great, they've done a
Okay.
really good job.
And I'm very pleased with the way that Chip has been very accessible to
Mhm.
the residents when he's come in here and he's spoken with us, and we've asked him, how are the residents that live near there? Are they?
He checks with them?
He checks with them, that
Good.
he anticipated one thing, he
Checks with you.
called them, and he checked on them just to see if there's anything that they needed or any, any issues, so.
He was texting me, I was up north on the lake, and he was texting me to let me know, just so you know, it's not our fault the 2 hours on Dixie Highway. There was a shooter, and they had to get the shell casing.
Yeah,
So-
that was the one traffic incident that I actually ran into because my husband and I were coming back that way.
Uh-huh.
And it was a middle of Sunday
Sunday,
afternoon. And, they had the whole thing blocked off. But again, it really wasn't even all that bad, everything was still moving pretty decent.
And fortunately, I'll say this, the people we talked to at MDOT did understand the festival, so what they did was unblock. In other words, they did not deliberately close all of I-75 on any of the weekends that the festival's open. And that's what made a huge difference for us, I think.
They did decide to paint the lines on Dixie and Grange Hall on one Sunday.
Really?
Makes you wonder. So,
They can't help it.
so a collaborative effort, good.
That's why people don't realize how many disjointed parts there are in the road commission. It's like trying to get the signs up, right? I'm still trying to get the date when they're gonna put those speed signs up, because we had them for like 3 or 4 months, right? They have to get one road crew to get some special square tubing that they don't normally have to hold the extra weight and put that in. They have to get a boom truck because they won't pick the boxes up. And they have to get an electrician to put the batteries in it. So it's
wow.
ridiculously expensive, but that's the only way we can get it done, right? So.
Do we have a date yet?
No, and I called them again today and I said, I need a date tonight. I think one of the residents is coming in and I'd like to be able to tell her.
Mm-hmm.
It wasn't on my phone when I left. So, but I'm sure they'll get there, and I think part of the problem is signs like that are not from traffic control orders. This is something the township says, we put them in for me.
Oh.
The sign department normally responds to signs that are ordered through the traffic control department. Those have to go up first, because they're to identify some known traffic problem.
Well, let's hope they get them in before the snow.
Before the snow
Right.
flies, yes. So, okay, that was it. BZA, anything, Gina?
We have a request for a variance tomorrow. Another accessory building that, due to wetlands, can't be put in the backyard, so we'll entertain that tomorrow. And then I do wanna take the opportunity to, No Has is Saturday at the Oakland County Community Center, Service Center in Pontiac. 8 to 2? 8 to 2.
Thank you.
Mhm.
For supervisor, there's just a couple things. Don't forget the Dixie Byway Car Show will be on again for the 4th time this year. Dave, I think you've been good enough to put a couple notices in the paper for us. I believe it's the 14th, I think is the Saturday, right? And we've sent out the invitations to the car club that usually shows up there, and we got a couple of different food vendors coming this time. So, again, we've asked the pastor at the Lake Point Church that he's responsible for making sure it doesn't rain that day. And I believe that Springfield's gonna block the traffic for us getting out for the cruise, and you're gonna do it at the Mount Holly Inn. So hopefully the weather holds up again and we luck out again. The other thing I have to do is the sad day that we have to say that Patty is retiring, but I'm happy for her.
Yeah.
And she sent a very nice letter here. I don't know if everybody got, do you want me to read it? Okay. It's to me. And it says, I'm writing to formally announce my retirement as Groveland Township Clerk effective October 1, 2023. It's been an honor and a privilege to serve the residents of Groveland Township in this capacity for the past 5 years. During my tenure, I've had the opportunity to work with dedicated colleagues and serve the community to the best of my ability. And you've done a damn good job too.
Thank you.
I have thoroughly enjoyed my time working for Groveland Township, but I now believe it is time for me to transition into retirement and focus on new endeavors. I'm confident that the township will continue to thrive under the capable leadership of my successor, Janelle. And I will do my best to ensure a smooth transition over the coming weeks and assist in any way possible to facilitate the transfer of my responsibilities. I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to everyone at Groveland Township for their support and cooperation throughout my career here. I will cherish the memories and experiences gained during my time as Township Clerk. Thank you again for the opportunity to serve Groveland Township. I look forward to the next chapter of my life. And I remember Patty working as a clerical support in the fire department. And when the big economic turned down, we didn't want to get rid of her, so we made a job over here. And she came in as the staff support person here. From there, Pam made her deputy. And then before Pam retired, she made sure that she knew the job so that she could take it over. It has been a wonderful experience. I can tell you, honestly, that this lady cares about what she does and puts her heart into it. She is, when I come in and say I had a lousy night's sleep worrying about something, she knows exactly what I'm saying because she gets the same way. And I just don't think you can kind of get that kind of support. So Patty, we love you for what you did.
Thank you.
We're going to miss you. And there's a
I'm gonna
party
miss all of you.
set up for October the 11th from 4 to 7 here. We put that in the paper. Okay. Because we want to do this up right.
Yeah.
It's a Wednesday.
It's a
So,
Wednesday.
Wednesday,
4 to
October
7.
11th.
October 11th.
4 to 7 p.m. Wednesday, October 11th.
So we'll do the rest of it.
Yeah.
So Patty, thank you very much.
And
for
thank
everything
you,
you've done.
and
Thank
you
you,
have to be there.
Yeah, you can't leave for up north that week.
So, yeah, I don't know what I'll do in the middle of the day.
Is this for after the meeting's
Dead
done?
straight
Is that-
up.
this is for-
You can open it now, you
Oh,
have
okay.
cups, it is sparkling grape juice in case anyone was concerned.
Alcohol free.
Yes, okay.
Oh, there we go.
I need a copy.
I'm afraid to
Submit.
Really? No.
Patty, can I get an electronic version of that letter? I can use it.
What am I gonna do? Thank you. Maybe for a price. Teasing. That was done.
You really should wait and see how the party goes first.
Yeah,
Pork
right.
patties, pork patties come first.
Let's open just this one.
That's kind of for
Alright,
Ben,
we're gonna have you some.
copying the back before.
It
Before
wasn't
what?
a quart, so it doesn't.
Sure. And speaking of which.
Wow,
there.
Teresa, you didn't even drink any.
I can't even
We
hold my
have
cup.
plenty in case anyone
Can't
else
even hold
wants
my
to
cup.
celebrate with the juice.
Yes, who else would like
Come on,
some?
you guys,
Here's
it's
another
kinda
cup.
boring, but
Yeah.
it's like,
Come on,
get a
who
glass.
wants more?
I have to because I have spent far enough.
Just to keep you awake. Oh. Got away from me. I was going
Oh, did you get one?
No thanks. I'll wait till I get home and celebrate before otherwise.
There you go. I think we have enough cups. Not sure, but I think we have
Are we
enough.
all set?
Oh, we have plenty of cups. Oh, yeah.
No, I mean,
We're
right here.
Need more champagne?
Laura and
Of course you
Dave
need one.
and your wife.
Here, yeah.
Where'd you go, man?
Cheers.
Bergman.
Cheers, cheers.
I can't toast it, I have a cup.
Fish over, go
I
get
want the bottle.
Gina needs one. Gina needs one.
Did I give her one?
Thank you.
I think I
Well,
got
yeah,
a
but
bottle.
I gave it
Excuse
to
me, I'm
her.
gonna scoot out and head home, but,
Okay,
the
here.
ambulance, by the way.
Sure.
We can
You're
change
gonna
the
give
color.
it up to the good
Well,
start.
We can open the other
Sure, go
one.
ahead, I had to take my husband.
Very bad.
Yeah.
Super.
Spectacular.
Thank you very much,
Two
everyone.
crews showed up.
Yeah.
It's all
When was this?
Well, and the
Sparkling
July.
juice.
Sparkling juice. He had an adverse reaction to the medication they gave him after surgery.
Yes, I'm totally.
Anyway, yeah.
No
wonder she ran out on dinner.
So,
I did, I was like, I gotta go to the store.
plan on being here on the 11th, okay?
Yeah.
We wanna make sure everybody knows, and if you could put that in the paper, we'd love it, and then Vinny, I think, put it on the sign, right?
Yep, we're gonna put on the sign and the Facebook
Love
page.
it. Do I get to stay employee?
You are employee of the month.
For the rest of the month.
My kids have been hauling me up here and I won't get out of the car. Get up there and stand by the side. I'm not getting downstairs.
You need to, but on October
Hey,
first,
Dave,
you'll have to come
Dave,
down.
wouldn't you
You'll
make
have to
a
come
great
down on
picture
October
of
Yes,
her
I
by
will.
the sign?
Yeah.
Sure.
It's been out there since January.
No, it was, who was it first?
It was,
Angela.
No,
That was
Janelle.
Janelle.
And then she
No,
broke the
it
sign,
was,
so
was
it
it,
went.
And then it got
Leslie
stuck.
first.
Oh, yeah,
Leslie
the
first.
sign
broke, and it was up there forever.
Great.
Then it was
For
Angela.
months.
And we have to make it Danielle.
It's a great month.
I came up there, and
Well, you know, we had a resident come in today and she said, how many employees are there here? I think the girls were like 6. She's like, oh, so you guys could be employee of the month more than once per year.
I tell everybody there are a lot. I'm just really, really good.
Patty, with that, do you have any?
No, I think they were saying, oh, I do, elections. Oh, how could I forget elections?
Oh,
So Janelle and Laura, been very busy working away, and the, applications, for absent voting, I don't even know, is that what we call them still? Because I was out when they sent them, I unfortunately had COVID, but I came back and they
It's
had
so
it
much
all
nicer
taken
than old.
care of, they did great. And just so to point out, you will not receive one any longer every election.
If you check
An application.
If an application, right, if you check the
You
box,
get them all the time.
you'll automatically just get a ballot.
That's what we did.
So
Now
they're
you
changing all
will-
kinds of things.
Yeah, in
I'm gonna check.
the beginning of the year next year, you will get something else in the mail where you have to identify your party
Oh, really?
specifically for that ballot.
Interesting.
Did you put that on the envelope?
It's the primary.
Yeah, because it's a primary, so
Oh,
that's all still kind of up in the air, and we don't know what that's going to look like.
Hmm.
But yes, so something else will come.
They have managed to take what most people consider a fairly simple, straightforward process and make it as convoluted and
Yes.
complex as they possibly can.
Very common.
They don't know that keeping it simple solution.
Yeah.
And in,
I
going
want my towels
forward,
back.
the state, I know.
Remember when you used to go in, you used to flip the
Flip
switch?
the letter, yeah, pull the big
Pull
one.
the curtain, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, that was nice, that was simple.
going forward in the state and, now I lost track of what I was saying. Federal and state elections, you will have the opportunity to vote 9 days in advance by walk-in voting. We'll be here for 9 days for the presidential primary. You can walk in, get a ballot, fill it out, and put it right through the tabulator.
And all 3 precincts?
No,
No.
Okay.
it'll be in one. I believe it's gonna be here. Janelle and
It'll
I
just be
talked
here.
a bit about it. It'll be here at the
Yeah.
It's a
town.
very busy time.
Fire
8
stations
hours a
are
day.
overrated.
It won't be from 8 until.
They're gonna put the
Yeah,
tabulator on the
8 to
back
8,
of
yeah,
a
yeah.
ladder truck and you're gonna drive around.
Give me the ideas, Bob.
Yeah, we'll be out there pushing it around. Who wants to? I'm teasing.
You'll have to be at Beaky's.
Okay.
I
All
leave it
right.
very confident.
Is there anything you would
Were
like
you
to?
all done, Patty?
I am, yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
As far as the treasurer's office goes, not really much new. Taxes are due this Thursday. Deferment applications due this Thursday. Up after that, penalties of 1% per month apply through the end of February. So, that's it.
Oh my gosh, where did the year go?
Yeah.
Very fast this year.
Before I forget, Chris, if you're curious, I found a note I had from my OCATS meeting about the Oakland County Sheriff. If you want it, you're welcome to it.
It's sure there's someone like Orion that has all those deputies, and then just 5% increase because somebody wants to, and it doesn't allow.
It's
the
not
sheriff
5,
to even
it's 8 to 15.
8 to 15.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna go in 23, a deputy 2, no fill, no vehicle, is 153,874, and in 24, it'll be 161,030. So, I think they charge you separate for the car, or they got a different rate if you have a deputy with a car. So,
And they only get 3%.
it is really expensive now.
Wow.
Well, just it makes no sense, it almost handcuffs the sheriff.
Right.
Yeah, and I was told, Bouchard had nothing to do with it. They didn't ask him,
Well, he's
they
the
told
last
him
one
what it was
standing.
going to be.
Oh.
Huh?
Last man standing.
Yep. Okay, well, that's it. And with that, I'll open the board. Are there any public comments? Anybody want to say anything? If not, we're going to have a motion to adjourn and.
I'll make a motion that we adjourn
And
the
reconvene.
township board meeting and reconvene for the fire meeting.
Second.
Okay, any questions or comments? Not all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Steve,
Freudian
sorry.
slip there.
Yeah. Kevin, I'm sorry. I'm thinking because somebody told me he was retiring
He
a
is.
couple of months.
Yeah, it's on November.
Yeah. Okay, I apologize. But the meeting is yours, Kevin.
Okay, thank you. We ended up with 103 calls for last month. We had 88 calls the year before, so pretty big jump there. Which left us at 641 for the end of August for the year. Not too much going on. We got the Renfest and Rock Manor going full swing. Everything's going well. I did check with the cadets. They are not available for no hands.
That's okay. I just send that out in case they want to do it.
I know.
So I appreciate it. I know they did a couple for us.
Yeah. We're looking into our billing rates and collection information from the surrounding communities. Like that email you sent me, Bob, we were already doing that. And Stacy has compiled some of them, and we're waiting to collect most of them. We're, I wouldn't say significantly lower, but there's a lot of things that other departments charge for that we don't.
Yeah, I saw something. I told you, I saw some things that I thought maybe we could talk about, but if you're
So
around
we're working on
Wednesday,
it.
if you're around Wednesday, we'll go to lunch and then we can chat after.
James Kruger, who was one we hired here, well, several months ago now, but he passed his fire 1 and 2 class last month. Janelle and I are going to the MTA conference tomorrow.
That's Franklin.
Yeah, and it's all about fire chief, so I guess we'll find out what my replacement's gonna have to do, because it's not gonna be done by me. And, as you know, I went bear hunting this last week, I didn't get anything, so.
Davy Crocker would be disappointed.
Well,
You didn't get any donuts.
Davey and
out
I
of it.
didn't see one, so it's kinda hard to shoot. But,
I mean, you got all them guns, it just don't seem right you couldn't get a bear.
You didn't put donuts out.
Oh, we
Did
had,
you?
we had
Oh.
bait out, but they
Yeah.
didn't come out. And, I was sick the whole time, I had GI problems the whole time I was there.
Really?
So it was not as enjoyable as it could have been, but I did get to use my camper, so that was nice. Stacy went home sick tonight, and, so I'm gonna
Yeah,
go
she
in.
was in my office this afternoon, I was talking, she seemed fine.
I came back, now she's sick, so it works out that way. And, the only other thing I remember now is that at our last, association meeting, we were complaining that, no one helps us set up for the Halloween thing, and, basically everyone decided they didn't wanna do it this year, so we're not gonna do the Halloween thing we do at Station Two the
The
last
trunk or
couple of
treat.
years.
Did we ever get our ISO number back yet?
No, not really. And I haven't heard from, what's his name, Mayor Nucci.
Oh, no, I got he sent something back, and I sent him some more stuff. I mean,
It's an ongoing thing.
yeah, well, I'm waiting for, I gotta get final draft, after I talk to Patty and Teresa. I think we're close to that, but I mean, he's very complimentary of the fire department, and you in particular.
Well, then we're gonna take a picture for the paper, hopefully in 2 weeks, because tomorrow I gotta take my son to the airport, and then, next Wednesday we're gonna take it, but, as you know, turnout hasn't been, filling shifts have still been hard, so, and not just us, it's everyone we know, so it's just a common
Be
problem.
interested in that session you're going to tomorrow, if they talk about.
How to recruit.
Well, it's probably gonna make things more complicated, I'm sure.
I'm just curious, I mean, with everybody getting it, I'd be curious to know what some departments are saying they're doing, in view of, there's limited options on what you can do if you can't get anybody, I mean, so I'm just curious what they're doing.
Oh, that's another thing, Independence called us up and they gave us about 500 feet of 5-inch diameter hose, the better hose, which is the cloth with the covering on it. They gave that to us, and then they said, hey, we got some more stuff if you wanna, look at it, so.
Why did they give it to us, don't they use it?
Because they bought new stuff,
Oh.
they were cleaning out their closet, and, we had to pressure test it, but it still looks pretty good. And then they were selling, 4 steamer valves, which are the ones, the main inputs on the trucks, which ours are like, there's a lake. So we bought those, and I think we got 8 nozzles with it for $1,500.
Oh.
One of those valves is $2,000, so.
Nice.
So we purchased them from them 2 weeks ago, so that's about all I have.
Okay, I'll be curious to see what you get out of Frankenmuth.
Janelle says she's gonna take a lot of notes.
Okay.
She's got a photographic memory.
Exactly.
Just said no film, that's all.
It's true.
Remember whose side you're on.
Not until next month.
Oh, I missed you. I missed you on the list.
Okay, well, anything else, Chief?
Any public comments?
Any public comment? Fine day today.
Good job.
Okay, thank you, everybody. A motion to adjourn will be in order.
I will make a motion that we adjourn.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any other questions or comments? All in favor, say aye. Yes, adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Remember, the 11th of October.